This is Scale Her Up, the podcast for female-led businesses ready to grow to seven figures and beyond. I'm Dr. Brenda Hector, business coach and champion for women in business, on a mission to change the statistics and help more women scale successfully. Each episode, we share real stories, tools, and tactics to help you build a business that supports the life you want. Follow the show and come and join our Scale Her Up Facebook community. You don't have to do this on your own. So today I'm really pleased. I've got Julie McCann, who is the founder and CEO of Masters in Minds Limited. Julie, thank you so much for agreeing to join me on the show.
Very welcome, Brenda. Pleasure to be here.
Really good to have you here. So let's start, as I do with all my guests. Tell me about Masters in Minds. What is it that you do?
So we work with organisations to help them create a culture for performance, ignite potential. We start with mindset, so hence the company name, Masters in Minds. So that's very aspirational because I don't think any of us truly master our minds. Maybe the Dalai Lama, but even he says he's work in progress, and if he is, then we all are. So it is about understanding ourselves. I think now more than ever, emotional intelligence, resilience, as we lead organizations is incredibly important, and creating spaces that people can genuinely thrive in is our mission. So leadership, management, and frontline colleague development is all within the scope of what we do. And we've also got a platform business which supports HR learning and development. So we can provide the tech support as well as the professional services.
Okay. The types of challenges that a business would be having for them to bring you in, what are they?
It's usually either a growth and transformation agenda that they have, or it's a turnaround. We've got problems, big problems. Maybe companies have scaled very quickly, and then there's some retrofitting to do in terms of process systems. But before you can do that, you have to work with people to get in the right frame of mind to approach that. But yeah, it's usually around scaling, either
Okay.
a scaling objective of some sort.
And wanting
Yeah,
change management and
huge.
having the
Yeah.
right mindset
Yeah,
to tackle that and cope with that.
absolutely. Yeah. My background in terms of academic was change strategy and facilitation skills. So that was a program that I did with the company I call my University of Life. I
Huh?
left school really young at 16. I didn't really have very many academic qualifications. So I learnt on the job in a fantastic environment that was all about personal and professional development. It was a very forward-thinking chairman. But he said at some point, Julie, you are going to need an academic qualification. So I was sponsored along with 20 other people to do an experiment with Surrey University, their HPRG group, Human Potential Resource Group, and we did a joint venture. And as a result, I got an academic qualification. So change and facilitation is really, yeah, what I spend my days doing.
Okay, so tell me about starting the business then. How long ago was that?
17 years.
Okay, and what drove the start of Masters in Minds then?
So I'd been working in organisations in a sales and marketing role or general management role. So on the board of organisations that were always preparing to exit in some way. So I was under real performance pressure for many years, and I loved it. I enjoyed it, but I always put it down to the people that I had in my team for the success. And I also thought, I've done this 4 times over now and I've made other people really rich. So why don't I have a go myself and do it the way I believe in terms of values driven, purpose driven, and really putting the attention on people because that's where I felt that I'd really succeeded and had enjoyment in doing high pressure work. So after several rounds in corporate life, I decided to set up Masters in Minds and give it a go on my own. And it ran as a sole trader for a period of time, and I had associates in my team, and then latterly turned it into more of a structured and organized business
Okay, so that's interesting. So it was a job for you in the beginning.
in the beginning.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And did you intend for that just to be all it was, or did you intend to build it into a structured
I,
organization?
that's a good question because I can't help but build it into something. So even though I was doing what I was doing and enjoying it, I see opportunity. I've grown organizations. So I found myself then going, oh, hang on a minute, I need a team. I can't say no to this opportunity, this client, they need scale. So it was organic in that respect. And then latterly, my business partner is my husband. He joined the business after he exited his own company. And he's a product guy. So he's all in product systems. He's very good at operationalizing strategy. So we're scaling it together. And that's what we've been doing more formally over the last few years.
So what's that like then, working with your husband?
It's intense, but we've got good at it.
Okay.
To begin with, we didn't have very many boundaries, but we soon realised, and obviously given what we do for a living, we have to practice what we preach. Worked on our own attitudes and mindsets and got better at getting boundaries and who does what and how we bounce off each other. And I think the last 5, 6 years, we've got into a good rhythm. Otherwise, you'd be talking about it over breakfast, over
Yeah.
lunch, at the weekends, and you need some respite from it. So I think we've got better at that.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of people who work with their partner or are in business with their partner, and that's pretty much what everyone says. You have to have the boundaries and you have to know when to switch off
Yeah,
from one or the
definitely.
other.
Yeah.
Because actually, home life can get into work as well. It works both ways, doesn't it?
Yeah, it can do, although that's not been so much our challenge. Our challenge is we love business, we love what we're doing, and we could talk about it all day and all night. So, you turn your kind of family kitchen table into a workshop environment,
Yeah.
which then your children grow up learning words about facilitation and change strategies when they're 8. So, yeah, you
Ah,
have to
so
get a
that's not a
boundary.
bad thing.
Not necessarily. One of them's now gone into that as a career, so maybe it's rubbed off in a good way.
Yeah. Good, good. So that's an interesting thing to talk about then. So you've been running your own business for all these years and running a family.
Yep.
What are the challenges that how did you manage that? Because nobody's going to disagree with me when I say that it's hard working or running a business while you've got a family at home as well.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. So both pregnancies were self-funded because I had my children later on in life and probably round about the same time as I was setting up the business independently. So I think if I reflect on how that's worked, it's been really challenging at times. There's no doubt about it. When the girls were younger, there's a constant juggle. I've literally locked myself in the shower with the baby bouncing on one side, the shower cubicle, that is, with the water off, having a call with a client while the baby's being juggled, and just crazy things that I know other women have been through the same thing. And then actually, my husband was fantastic because when he sold his business, I was working away a lot and we reversed roles, and that was fantastic. So the girls had their dad, and
Mhm.
then it switched around again. So I think a lot of flexibility, a lot of juggling, but always having family time. I always put a month in the diary every summer, and we'd go away as a family for the whole summer, and also at Christmases and Easters and things like that. And we always had one of us at all their events. My youngest was a rower, so Stephen was a part-time rowing dad, and so on. So it's hard work. It's not necessarily easy, but it is a choice that you've made. You make it work. And my girls have grown up great. I'm really proud of them. So yeah, even now though, you still stay in touch. You don't lose it. They just change age and you're still there. Luckily, they've come to the point now where they've gone beyond the know-it-all bit and they're back into, oh, mum, can I run that by you? They don't think that they know it all now.
What age did that happen then?
Oh, I would say for my eldest, yeah, actually for both girls, probably around about 21, 22. A little, and it's lovely. It's really, yeah, it's great. But yeah, it's a juggle, hot,
Yeah,
sweaty moments.
yeah, yeah. What have you learned about yourself over your journey as an entrepreneur then, Julie?
Oh, I really struggled with articulating the proposition and what we do because for part of the starting of the business were people saying to me, can you come and do that thing you do? And as I kind of scaled the business, obviously that I'm a sales and marketing person, and I was relying on, can you come and do that thing that you do? And I'm like, I haven't articulated very
Mm.
well what it is we do, and I still struggle with that. I've done so many different versions, and I'm not very good at the elevator pitch. So I think that's one of the things. And the other is probably being very overly client focused, just focusing on them more than growing our business sometimes. The two go hand in hand, but I can have a leaning towards that as a preference and spend all my time in the client world and not maybe so much on
Yeah.
scaling the business. So I've tried to get better at that, but they're the kind of challenges. Yeah. And working, I work, I like working. So I have to manage boundaries about taking my weekends out and getting the balance right.
And I think that's a really common challenge, isn't it? Getting because you're doing something, you've got into it because you're passionate about it. And
Yeah.
if it's exciting you, then why wouldn't you want to do it all the time?
Exactly. I really do enjoy it. So yeah, if I also think that you have to reset your brain because if I go too much, then I get tired and ideas don't flow. So I've kind of learnt that over the years. That's probably one of the most recent learnings, which if you just stop for a couple of days, Judy, like yesterday, I went to an art gallery with a good friend of mine and effectively had the day off and far more refreshed with new ideas this morning.
Yeah, that really impacts your productivity, doesn't it?
It
Is that
does.
something that you help your clients with then?
Yes, and sometimes
Yeah.
you teach best what you most need to learn, don't you?
Oh, I like that phrase. Yeah, that's very relevant in my field of work as well.
Yeah, yeah, we do. Well-being, taking space is all part of that resilience, isn't it? And there's huge demands. I think the demands now are more challenging than ever. And with AI, every single conversation is what impact is that having in our businesses, on our lives. So I think, yeah, that's probably one of the most predominant conversations. And it beggars the question about how do we look after ourselves through this extent of change. It's transformational stuff, isn't it, that we're living in
Yeah.
amongst a whole bunch of societal and geo-economic, political. Oh, there's not words for it. It's mad at the moment.
So I want to dig further into what you're doing to help businesses because
Mm.
ultimately what you're doing has to have a bottom line impact.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think in this day and age, people are more appreciate more that the what used to be called the fluffy stuff
Yes.
has a
Yeah.
bottom line impact.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it,
Absolutely.
has there been a change over the years in the acceptance of what you do, an understanding of what you do?
Yeah, yeah. I think for the first 20 years of what I did, and it was before and at the beginning of me setting up my own business, because I've been in this kind of world for a long time. People would just talk about fluffy. They wouldn't understand. You wouldn't even say mindset because they think you're a tree hugger and it's got nothing to do with practical business results. So it has got easier. People are more understanding and open of the difference that having a growth mindset makes, the difference that emotional intelligence makes, but you still have to do the work on the return on investment and have the business case. So over the years, we've built up the case studies and we can
Mhm.
evidence uplifts in sales, productivity, engagement. So hard business benefits, direct monetary business benefits alongside behavioral change. So having that evidence and then you work, we've been doing this a long time now. You get clients and they experience the benefits from that perspective, but also in themselves. I've got clients who are now in CEO roles and they've come through their careers and they know the difference it makes. So they bring us in and they know that we will deliver the results and their CFOs are happy because they're going to get the actual business gains. So it has changed over time, but you still get the odd person who says things like, it's not me, it's them. Can you go and sort them out? And my rule now is no, unless you're willing to work on yourself, then I'm not interested in working with you because there's no point. Sorry, that sounds probably a bit bullshit, but I don't mean to be bullshit. It's just really
Well,
about,
you're going to know what's going to work when you've been
yeah,
doing it this long. If they have that attitude, you know that's not going to work.
it
So,
doesn't work.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I'm very proud actually of the track record on results and the impact that we have on businesses. We start with the strategy. We don't set strategy. What we do is help teams, executive level, board level, senior, whatever size, depending on the organization's shape, we help them execute well. And that's quite often where it falls down, because you can get the goals and you can get the plans and so on, but it's actually delivering it. And I think that's where we play in our sweet spot.
So that's, you're developing those senior leaders deliver well
Yeah.
what the strategy that's been decided. Yeah.
Yeah, that we help them turn into an execution plan. So what we say is this isn't a training program per se. Yes, there's education in it. Yes, there's coaching. Yes, there's training. But what we're doing is collectively building the execution of the strategy so that you can achieve your strategic ambitions and goals. And then we join that all the way through the organization. So that's the part that's about igniting performance. So if I'm a team lead, if I'm a sales manager, if I'm working on the every day that connects back to where the organization's going, and my recognition and reward, remuneration, and everything is tied in. And that's hard. That's a lot of heavy lifting. And quite often it doesn't get done because it takes tenacity and focus and a lot of humor to keep you going and
Is
so
there
on.
is there a risk? I'm not it's maybe not necessarily a risk, maybe it's a good thing that they lose people along this journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not, it does help to see if we got the right people, you know, that expression, the right people on the bus, in the right seat, facing the right direction. And sometimes it's just not for individuals, whether it's a skill or competence or a career piece, or it's just they're not going to enjoy it. It's not their thing. So yes, it does show that up. And I think it's right to help people make those choices responsibly and be supportive about those choices.
That's the mindset as well, isn't it?
It
It's,
is. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And some people have gone off from programs we've been involved with and then got in touch and said that was the best decision I made. Thank you for that, that intervention. So yeah, yeah, if people can be happy and thrive in their work lives, then they're going to make happier people in their home lives and social lives as well.
yeah, and vice versa.
In and vice versa. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Putting, you're talking about your own business and putting it's now much more structured. And how many staff do you have? What sort of team are you working? What is?
Yeah. So we've got an associate model, and that does change. It fluctuates in terms of how many people we're working with on a full-time basis versus the associate basis. At the moment, we've got 8 people full-time, and that's growing. And we've got 40, yeah, circa 40 people in our associate group. And they're all people we've worked with for many years because they're all part of my network, and reputation is everything in terms of what we do. So that's how we tend to manage the resourcing for the business. And at the moment, as the platform side, the technology side evolves, we're building out more expertise in that respect, and also in the HR and L&D space, because that's where a lot of the advisory work comes. The platform is effectively a HRIS and an LMS integrated with all of our content, and that ties back into the delivering the organization's goals, because the content is all bespoke to them, and then they can access it through the learning management
Okay.
system
Yeah.
and govern the whole thing properly right the way through to performance. So just all joins up. Yeah. So we're going through our own growth and digital transformation at the same
Mhm.
time.
Yeah. No, it's exciting.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Yeah, it
So,
is.
yeah. On your journey then, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, who's been your biggest supporter?
My husband, ever since we met, he's been incredibly supportive. So yeah, he's like number one in there in the mix. I would say my daughters, because they really do understand the things, the benefits we've had in our lives come from the working hard and being successful. So they've always been very appreciative of that. And that's amazing, actually, having that family support. And then there's been a lot of people along the way from I referred to the company earlier, my University of Life. That was getting on for 35 years ago, and I'm still, my best friends and my support network come from that. So I didn't go to uni, so that was like my uni. And I've got incredible support from those people who are all extremely talented and successful in their own rights. So having that is amazing, just in many different guises. Some of them are leading businesses, some of them are partners in big organizations, and some of them are supportive of their partners who are in big career. So yeah, I've got an amazing support network in that respect, and clients incredibly supportive as well, which is amazing. That's come with, I think, tenure and trust, but it's great to have that when your clients have got your back and they're recommending you to other people. That's amazing.
Yeah, great, great. What advice would you give to another woman looking at starting or scaling a business?
Well, that's a big question, isn't it? Because it's so personal. I think it is a personal thing. You've got to be prepared to fail. You've got to be prepared to work really hard. You've got to be prepared to tell the truth about the experience that you're having, because sometimes you can get caught up in it to the degree where you can lose yourself in it. So I think having a coach or a mentor or that support network we were just talking about around you to keep you real, either if you're getting really excited or if you're getting really despondent, I think that's really important. And to be really clear why you're doing it, have a purpose for it. Yeah, they're the things I would say. And also, it takes much longer than you ever think.
Oh yeah, that comes up a lot in these conversations, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I've really seen there's no overnight successes. They just can sometimes look like that, but the hard yards and many years are going on behind the scenes.
So I wrote down two things there while you were giving me those nuggets, that be prepared to fail,
Yeah,
and it takes much longer than you think. And I guess those are connected
yeah.
because you don't necessarily think you're going to fail at it, but when you do fail, that can set you back. But tell me more about the failure part then.
You might not get any money in to begin with, and then how are you going to feed yourself and pay the bills? And that's a reality of going into this way of life.
Yeah.
I don't know if any jobs are like secure nowadays. They used to be probably a little bit more than they are now. But you're not going to necessarily get a salary, or I live up in Scotland, a wage as they call it. You might not get a wage, and then what you're going to do. And I think you've got to be incredibly ability to bounce back, bounce forward when times are hard, because you can lose your confidence. I've definitely been through that loads of times. Going, am I any good? What is the point? Who am I? Yeah, so your strong sense of belief in what you're doing, which goes back to purpose, doesn't it? And having that support network, I think that is incredible. Because if I'm down and Stephen will say to me, right, go and read some case studies, go and remind yourself of what you've delivered and what you've achieved. You're in one of those moments. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the biggest. I think that's the hardest part, is sometimes keeping going when it just feels really tough. Markets change, don't they? You are at the effect of what's going on. So how do you stay in a point of choice on out there? You have
Yeah.
to kind of ignore it sometimes.
Do you know, I think the media has a big part to play here, and they like to sensationalize and they like to tell you that it's all doom and gloom.
Yeah.
And actually, you don't have to believe everything that they tell you.
No, I
I
think
got-
that's really important, Brenda. Absolutely. I remember going through a period, I think I was just starting up Masters in Minds when not long before the huge crash took place. And I don't think this was a conscious choice, but something happened where I just ignored it. I just carried on as if everything was okay. Maybe that was a bit Pollyanna, a bit naive, but it got me through. And if you just keep listening to the media, you wouldn't do anything.
Absolutely.
It's,
Yeah.
you can't get sucked into that stuff.
Really not good for mindset, is it?
No, It's not, it's the opposite. Interestingly, I'm in London this week. I've been in London all week and I've been on my own in London and I've been out just having my dinner and watching and observing wonderful people watching. And I'm looking at it going, there's something about what I'm seeing here in terms of the energy and the positivity does not match what I am being fed.
No.
There's a disconnect there because this looks like it's really buzzy and working and people, there's I'm like, maybe it's because I'm in London and that's a bubble and so on. But I don't know. I don't actually believe a lot of what they pump out there. And it's not helpful, is it? It's just going to make you depressed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you can't be in that.
Control of the things you can control. And
Exactly. Absolutely. And interestingly, my youngest daughter has started up her own business. So I'm watching her go through that. She loves baking. So she started her own business in that field, totally different to what we do. But I'm seeing her making those choices as well. Just like she puts it all to one side and just focuses on what she's doing.
what an amazing entrepreneurial family you are.
We are
Yeah.
actually, yeah, and that's
Were-
something I've not paid attention to in that to name it or that way, but we are. Stephen's entrepreneur built one company and exited it successfully. My eldest daughter is a CEO in waiting, so she's consciously said, I'm out there to learn. Once I've learned what I need to learn, I know what I'm going to do." So she's on her path, and then Darcy's on hers. So yeah.
So do you think, were you always going to have your own business? Was that written in the stars or
No.
no?
No, I left school, as I said earlier, I think I wasn't even 16 and went to work for the local big employer. And I was just thought that's all there is. You just go there, do the job. It's like a big factory, really, paper factory. And then somebody sent me on a course, and I was one of those typical, what you sending me on a course for? I had a really bad attitude when I was younger. I only went to work to go clubbing. That was it. Get the money and go clubbing. Anyway, I went on this course and it was literally life changing. And when I was there, I decided then I wanted to do what these trainers did. And that's when I joined their company. And it took me quite a long time. My boss was really supportive. And it was a massive transformation to leave where I grew up in Southend, come to London, join a company, learn to speak properly because I couldn't speak properly. That is the truth of it. I really bad grammar. I know you're not supposed to talk about these things anymore, but then accents were not, people didn't like accents
No.
back in those days. So I went through quite a personal transformation to be able to do what I wanted to do from a business point of view, because I wanted to be like one of them, because they to me were like so inspiring in the way that they trained, facilitated, and coached people in business. And then it wasn't until I had been promoted onto the board of that organization and we sold that organization that I started to think maybe I could do something myself. But I was definitely not, and it didn't even enter my head that it would be a possibility at all. There's an expression that they used back then, which is we'll shine the light on you greater than you shine on yourself, which I've always kept because I think that's just wonderful to help people see what the possibilities are.
That's leadership, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely it is. And leadership, I suppose, if I net all of that down, is the thing I'm most passionate about because you have such an impact on people. Yeah, you don't know just how much of an impact you have on many people's lives when you are a CEO or around the C-suite table or a managing director. If you're in a leadership position, whatever nature it is, you are impacting people's lives.
I'm just thinking about the impact. If you think about the person who delivered that training course to you, you went, I could do that. So she changed your life. But how many people have been in the room when you've been training or facilitating or coaching that have had the trickle down
Yeah.
effect of that? It's massive, isn't it?
It's huge. It is, it's huge. I did have this idea, it was a bit mad, but I had an idea of having a huge wall and collecting everybody's names who'd put their name to my life's being changed. And I started to socialize the idea, and people went, I'll put my name on that wall. Now, I've not followed through because I've not got this is a bit of a blame thing, but I've not got the resource to actually build the wall for me, but maybe I'll resurrect that idea. But you're right, the ripple effect is huge. And that's why Masters in Minds, our brand is a ripple, because the feedback from clients is it has the ripple effect. You start here and then it ripples out. Yeah, I don't know how scientifically you'd work out the full impact of the ripple.
I'm sure it's massive. Absolutely massive. Well done you for, yeah.
Thank you, Brenda.
Yeah, I think it's fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. Julie, is there anything I should have asked you that I haven't? Anything you'd like to add to the conversation?
Yeah, one thing, don't let age be anything that holds you back. There's something going in that space that I think we talk a lot about, obviously gender, we talk about inclusivity and diversity and so on. And I think one of the ones that doesn't get spoken about as much is age. And I think we're losing wisdom from elders. And that's a shame, because I think there's so much to be given between different generations. Obviously, we've got a big conversation about generations and more generations in business than ever before. I'm not sure if that's true, but that's what is being said. So age should never be something that defines what you can and can't do.
I
Sometimes
totally
some of
agree.
us take longer than others to bloom.
And as a woman in my 50s, there's like a reclaiming of our or something.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
yeah, I think that's a very powerful message, actually. Yeah, doesn't matter what age you are.
No.
Yeah.
When I was in my 20s, I was delivering conversations to people who were in their 40s, 50s, and I used to think, why are they even listening to me? I'm so much younger than them. I want to have grey hair and look like a big, substantial kind of, I've been around the block person. And now you flip the other way around and you get your hair coloured so that you don't look like that. But really, should it matter? No. If you've
No.
got value to add and you want to add it and it makes a difference, a positive impact, age should be irrelevant.
Yeah. Just share what you're here to share.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and be
Teach what you're here
curious.
to teach and yeah, learn what you're here to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think being curious, I'm so grateful I've got daughters in their 20s, because I'm like, what I'm learning directly from them what their lives are like and what's important to them, not getting it, to your point, back to the media, because you hear all sorts there and you go, that's not actually what's happening in real life.
Oh, these young people in this snowflake generation
It's
and yeah.
wrong.
So
It's
if
not,
that's
yeah,
what we're listening to, that's what we're looking for, and that's what we'll see. But yeah,
yeah.
those are not the people that live in my house either. No.
No, no, absolutely not. So I think that's my end message, and that dogs keep you real. I'll end on that.
I feel like there's a story there, but no, just absolutely. I've got three of them running around here somewhere, so I totally agree with you there. Yeah. Julie, thank you so much for being. I've really enjoyed this conversation. Thank
Thank
you for
you. Me
joining me.
too. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you got in touch with me, and I'll look forward to catching up with you afterwards.
Yeah, and thank you to you, the listeners, for listening to Scale Her Up. If you enjoyed this episode, follow the show and leave a review. It helps more female business owners find us. Come and join our Scale Her Up Facebook community to get support, accountability, and connection with women who get it. And remember, only 1 in 3 UK entrepreneurs are female, and men are still 5 times more likely to scale their business beyond £1 million in turnover than women. When we start and scale our businesses to the same extent as men, we'll add £250 billion to the UK economy and create millions of jobs. So, ladies, you can do it, and your business can make a massive difference.